Mr. Speaker, members, you all know what this amendment does. What I'd like to talk to you about is why I'm here to offer it. There are dates you remember because they change your life. And so in my headspace, I've got the births of my children, my anniversary, and others that bring me a lot of joy. Sitting next to those are a few dates that I'll never forget, as much as I'd like to. August 3rd, 2019. I was at church preparing for a retreat, talking about community and love, actually. And everyone's phones started buzzing. There was this sort of weird, nervous energy when we realized that a whole bunch of us were all getting calls at the same time. Sort of like that slow monster behind the door moment in a horror movie. You don't want to look, but you have to. And that's exactly what it was when we got the news. There was horror. There was a monster. And innocent people in my hometown were dead on the floor of a Walmart because a man wrote a racist manifesto, then grabbed a rifle and drove across Texas to kill Hispanic people. 23 died altogether. The last one, Coach Memo, held on in intensive care for 9 long, painful months. And I'll always remember April 26, 2020 as the date he died. He was a father, a husband, a devoted teacher, and he was taken from us. It hit me then, hard, that I wasn't over the shooting. I'd actually hardly gotten a break because on August 31st, 2019, a man drove between Midland and Odessa shooting dozens of people. He tried to buy a gun at a store, was refused when he failed the background check, then simply walked out without consequence and arranged to buy the murder weapon in a private sale where no background check was required. After those shootings, people everywhere, from all political stripes, talked about what could be done to keep this from happening again. There were roundtable discussions and stakeholder meetings and a lot of promises. We were told there would be good guys with guns and that we'd keep them out of the hands of the bad guys. And I was hopeful, members. Even knowing the political realities, I was hopeful. But now, here we are. The first legislative session back since then, and it's another date that's going to be burned into my heart. April 15th, 2021 is the date we heard a big gun expansion bill, like the big gun expansion bills we have every single session. Having done nothing at all to make sure dangerous criminals aren't armed, having done nothing at all to make our current laws enforceable, having done nothing at all to make good on solemn promises made to the families of El Paso and in places across the state on the graves of their loved ones. April 15th, 2021 is the date where we did nothing at all once again. I'm not anti-gun. I'm a gun owner, like a lot of us here. But I'm also like most Texans, Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike, in that we don't want felons to be able to buy a gun without a background check. We don't want a court to hold a hearing, grant a protective order against a domestic abuser, then have no way to enforce it. We want people who intentionally lie on background checks to be prosecutable. We want some common sense things we all know there's broad bipartisan support for in this state. We want this body voting on this floor on gun legislation that isn't just more guns. Members, I'm so tired of doing nothing. I'm so tired of catering to a very small number of very loud people whose thinking about guns is wrapped up in unfounded fears and bizarre conspiracy theories. I'm so tired of the gun being worshipped like some golden calf and hearing all about rights, but nothing about responsibilities. When are we going to do something? When we do, I'll mark that date down too, with great pride in this body. Until then, until we actually do something real, I don't want to do anything else. I'm asking the same of you for the people of El Paso, and for Midland, Odessa, and for Bryan, and for White Settlement, and for Santa Fe, and Sutherland Springs, for Plano, and Dallas, and Houston, Waco, Garland, Spring, Fort Hood, College Station, and for every other community shattered by mass shooting prior to the last decade, because all I just listed was only the last 10 years. For all of them, and for the responsible gun owners of Texas who do things the right way, I ask you to vote for this amendment.